We just did this original piece on like an amazing musician. The focus of the piece was finding beauty in unlikely places, finding beauty in the small things in our lives. And one thing that the artist said that was really interesting was that every major story that seems to get a huge following and a lot of attention nowadays is about saving the world, and just about how, like, you know, it's easy to feel as a storyteller and as a creative that if you're not telling a story about something as big as saving the world or preventing Thanos from destroying the universe, then what are you doing, you know?
Which is a wild concept, right? Because without giving it all away, there's beauty in the mundane. Like, there's beauty in the smaller moments. And I think that's a really good... It ties in really with the conversation of sensationalizing everything. That's a big thing that we talked about. It's something I worked on with him as I was directing, to try to talk through, like, so why does marketing... It's really down to marketing, right? Like, why does marketing have to have the biggest, boldest thing to promote that isn't real life? That's a big one, right? Like you said, that big moments. You don't have to promote big moments,
Because a lot of us are not promoting big moments.
daily.
A lot of us are not doing the cover story for LeBron James' retirement. A lot of us are not running stories on the legacy of Queen Elizabeth. A lot of us are getting asked to do a story on a credit union and how a credit union impacted someone's life. A lot of us are doing stories on a nonprofit, and how did that nonprofit change the small part that they're trying to change in the world. Or a lot of us are just pointing a camera at a product and hoping that that product is going to change someone's life for better, even in a small way. So it's like, if you're not thinking small picture, well, even from the standpoint of if you're not thinking small picture and if you're not able to do those seemingly small stories well, when the quote-unquote big stories come, you're not going to do those well either.
I think a lot of us are left in this place of, like, not enoughness with that we feel like we're not... I know that for me. I think you're probably the same. We're both really deep people, I think, and deep storytellers. Like we keep saying, it's a very personal expression for us. It's like a very deep connection that we have to make with ourselves and the talent and stuff. But that is, I think what you're saying though is, like, that's just real life. I think Hollywood sets this precedent of, like, we have to make stories that take us to another land or make us feel like we can be those superheroes, like you're saying, right? Superheroes. But the real superheroes are the people, the mom and pops and the small businesses and people that immigrated to this country, and, like, those are big things too, but they get overlooked so easily. There's a lot of people that put everything into making a life even happen for them, where they get to live a day to day, they make money and be able to provide for their family. Everybody in America has to do that, and that's the most relatable story to anybody. It's not always those bigger things. It's, here are the challenges that we're faced with every day. Here are the people we interact with, and here are the potential wins we see if we work hard enough. It yields these results. That's the American dream. I think that's the story that I think in docs we like to tell, that because it's not just more focused, but it's more relatable.
I think relatability is the key here. Is we are thinking outside of ourselves, and we are thinking in terms of, like, if something really impacts me, it probably impacts someone else too. Like, if you're a dad, when you have your child resting on your chest, I'm not a dad, but
Neither am I.
I bet that
We've
feels
seen
like
our friends.
when I see like my brother-in-law with his kids, and he's just like having a little like snuggle time with his 2-year-old, like watching TV, and I look at his face and I'm like, this guy just saved the world.
Yeah.
You know, like, it looks like this guy just saved the world, and it's so awesome. And it's like, well, as we go through our lives and as we go through project after project after project, I think one thing that it's a good aspiration that we'll all fail in, and it's okay, it's just seeing those small moments in our work and being able to put them out into the world. My friend Tyson actually said this, to package all those small moments and to put them out into the world in a way that makes them seem a little bit bigger than what was perceived at first.
Well, I want to put somebody on the map. I mean, that's my obsession, is like, I feel like for years we feel like underdogs, and we still do, trying to figure it out in film. But I like telling that underdog story because it's somebody that's not been highlighted before, and it lets people get a new perspective on people, like you said, that are a lot like them, that make them feel a certain way about, well, it's really like a relatable connection when you bring somebody out in the forefront and how you display them. There's like a...
That's an interesting helicopter.
Yeah, it's kind of weird.
Wow. That is a really interesting
it looks like it's
helicopter.
supposed to carry something, but it's not.
Oh, that guy just burned that other guy.
There's this like, dang, I lost my train of thought. I was getting somewhere good. Oh, there's something that we've talked about with even what we're doing with this, that there's an ethical approach to how we do this on the doc side, and just as filmmakers, I think, where we want to tell the most authentic version of somebody else's story over any personal gain for us. And I think that connects right to this topic, because for me as a director, I do want to have, a platform to be able to say what I want to say through my films. Of course I do. But to me, the ethical side of this, the ethos, is like, I don't care about that so much that I want to jailbreak, or not jailbreak's not the right word, but like commandeer the project from somebody else that we're telling the story of. But if it has a hint of something that I want to say, great, because that means I can direct that and steer that toward an audience. But I don't want to be somebody that's taking over the limelight from somebody as a director, right? That's something I think about. I don't know if you connect on that, but...
Right, and if you think of good commercials, good movies, good documentaries, they're really a compilation of small moments that are made out to be huge by the filmmakers who shot it, who edited it, who wrote it. They basically are gathering all those small moments, making them seem larger than life, and connecting it to a larger than life story. And if you can take that every day to your work, I think what it does to you is when you walk into a project that you're not excited about, and when you walk into what some people in our industry call it a KLO, keep the lights on. When you walk into those KLOs, those projects that you're not pumped about, and you have the mindset of like the person on the other side, that marketing person who just hired me, that creative director, that art director, even though I'm having a hard time connecting with this, it matters to them.
Yeah.
Or even if it doesn't matter to them, it matters enough to someone who's going to spend
that much
valuable
money.
resources into whatever you're highlighting.
You owe them that respect. That's the ethics. You owe them that respect.
Exactly.
And that's something that filmmakers, I think, that have to do those, what was it again? KLO, keep the lights on. Filmmakers that have to do that to make money when it's not the exact like expression that we love to do, you still owe it to somebody. They're keeping you in a position where you get to still create, whether or not you love it, and they're paying your bills so that you can stay alive and stay in this country, which is not an easy place to live in.
When you put your all into a project, when you try to tell the big story in the small moment, the big story in the unlikely place, then, and you're looking out for those, right? Like even in the job that you're not excited about, you're looking out for those. In the job that you're pumped about, you're even more looking out for those. So what ends up happening is that two things are going to happen. Your client's either going to love it and they're going to be so pleased that they hired you and there's going to be a relationship there. Or if your client hates it, or if your client doesn't get it, if your client I don't know, if for some reason it just falls flat or it doesn't work, then I mean maybe evaluate what you did, but
Right.
but all because the client's not always wrong. Sometimes
No.
they're people. They have valid points of view, but
Yeah, of course they are.
here's the thing: even say like the client is wrong, you still did your best and you still did your part and you still sought to respect that story and to tell it,
Give it your all.
and you gave it your alls, and it's probably something that you can pitch to someone else
Yeah.
that's going to appreciate it.
So that's that. I think in closing, that's kind of like where this leads. This kind of finding stories in unlikely places, KLOs, that sort of thing, ethical storytelling. It all leads to investment. People don't realize that. This is a business. You have to invest in things. It's a startup when you start this. Even as a freelancer, if you're going to go the high production route, you are going to bring a crew on, and you're the boss. So how are you going to lead them, and not on just paid shoots, but like we talked about proof of concept, but like that goes further, right? And it goes into the category of investing. And if you're going to invest in a project, you're going to give it your all, regardless of who it's for. And investing could be in an original, but it can also be, like you said, in a KLO. Because if you're investing in a KLO, you're making somebody else see the value that they didn't see before. It's noble, it's hard work, especially if you're not connecting with it. But if you go just that extra, let's say it's an extra 20%, that extra 20% means that potentially could mean a 20% increase on a future budget, 20% increase on your total business. People don't realize that. So when it's not your rate, they say, I'm not going to do that.
We are so short-sighted. I think that's the big thing. We're so short-sighted, and we are always looking around us, looking at what are the big stories, what are the big people doing, what are the movers and shakers doing, and we commit the fatal sin of not realizing the gifts and the beauty that's right in front of us.
Yeah.
And that's gonna
all around us.
And over time, that's gonna kill a career.
Yeah.
Either through just jadedness or through you not putting your all into what's in front of you, so you can put your all into like some concept that you have in the future that hasn't even taken place.
That's so good. Live in the present.